Got this screen recorder working, got the mic hooked up. It's tutorial time, except we're not doing a tutorial really. I'm going to talk about ways to import audio into your workstation. Of course, right now I'm using Pro Tools. So we're going to kind of show off some Pro Tools things. I've got a couple of apps that are Mac specific as well, and you can use those with Logic. You can use them with Studio One, Adobe Audition, any of those. Now, if you're on the Windows side, I'm not running Windows, so my knowledge of that is very limited compared to what it used to be. What it used to be included a couple of options. One of them is called XY Explorer, and it's basically a Windows file explorer that allows you to automatically preview audio when you click on it. So there's that. But there was a new program that was starting to come out right as I left Windows, and it's great. I did a little bit of the alpha testing of it, and I think they've moved into beta testing right now. You can check it out. It's called Resonic, Resonic, and that is for Windows only. And it was an absolutely phenomenal program. I would recommend it to everyone if you're using Windows. However, I am not. So we're going to focus on Mac specific things, although the first couple of things I'm going to show you here in Pro Tools are not Mac specific. They are Pro Tools specific. So you can do this in Pro Tools. The first thing is the most obvious, and this is called Import Audio in Pro Tools. You can access that by hitting Command-Shift-I or Control-Shift-I on the Windows computers. And it basically allows you to browse through your files, and you can go in and preview stuff. You can add it to your project. You can go through and audition sounds too by hitting the spacebar. And so we want those two. We can hit done. And then it's going to ask us where we want them. Obviously, we just want them in the default Pro Tools audio files folder, so we can hit enter. And then you can choose to add it to a new track or the clip list. I always import to the clip list and then just drag them into my project as such. So you can do that. The other option in Pro Tools is called the Workspace. And you can get that by going Window, New Workspace. And it's basically like a file explorer within Pro Tools. And of course, you can go through and find, music, and it allows you to preview it. Gives you a little waveform preview there. I don't use this as much because it goes through and it indexes the folders, and that takes forever. And I've got a pretty good file structure with my stuff. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at exactly what I'm talking about. So Audio Finder is the one I'm using the most. It comes with a waveform preview here. There is an option to spot to Pro Tools. I do not do that, and I'm going to tell you why when I show you. So we'll just go here to, there's alien imaging. All right, go through and preview. Couple of things. It'll bring up a waveform preview. And of course, because these are shorter effects, the preview is over before the waveform shows up. So I like that sound. I can just drag and drop it right here into Pro Tools like that. Now you could spot it into Pro Tools. The problem with the spotting in Audio Finder is it doesn't spot it to the audio files folder with your Pro Tools session. So there's a very good chance if I were to take this session, throw it onto my external hard drive, and then go to work with it, it may not find the files. And that's because it spots it, but it creates these temp files in certain locations, and Pro Tools doesn't automatically move them over into the audio files. So I don't trust the spotting because you're going to get missing files. I stay away from that. So I just drag and drop it right here into the clip list and let it convert, and then you can drag it into your session there. The other option that I'm using, which is really good, although I would really like if they updated it a little more often, It's called Snapper, and Snapper is accessed. I was going to say accessible, and then it's accessed by using the Finder view. Okay, now, by the way, Audio Finder and Snapper are both Mac-only programs, so let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. So Snapper, I can go through Finder here, and we can go to, here's another alien imaging library. And what should be happening, that's not happening. See, this is what I'm talking about. Needs to be updated. There we go. Is it brings up a waveform preview, like so. And you can turn it to autoplay, so when you select a file, it'll automatically play it. Here's the cool thing about Snapper. You can spot it to Pro Tools. So I do this, I go to Snapper, and say I like that. I'm going to just spot it right to Pro Tools. Check it out. There it is. The other cool thing about Snapper is, say I want to turn that off. Say I want to snap it, or I want to spot it just like this, and I only want that piece right there, not the rest of this tail. I can do that and then spot that individual spot, and look at that. There it is. The only thing that sucks is I can't, it's like it spots that as its own individual file. So you can't adjust the tail on it. So be sure that that's the piece you want. A lot of times I'll just spot the whole file and trim it up here in Pro Tools. But if you're doing something quick and say you just want something, say you absolutely know you're not going to need the tail, just boom. Right there. And there you go. So that is Snapper, and Snapper's cool. It's a little buggy. I wish they'd updated a little bit more, but there's that. Here's the cool thing about Snapper, by the way. Now that I'm showing this off. If we go over here, if we hit Reveal in Finder, look at where it shows up. In our Pro Tools Audio Files folder. It automatically puts it in there, so when I decide to copy this entire session, the files are with the session, so I don't have to worry about missing files. That's why I like Snapper over Audio Finder for spotting. But I'll confess, the majority of my use is Audio Finder or just the import audio dialog, which again is accessible by hitting Command-Shift-I, or going to File, Import Audio. So those are a couple of ways to import audio into Pro Tools. I found that Audio Finder and the import audio dialog are the best for me. If you guys know of anything, let me know. I've tried SoundMiner. SoundMiner is great, but I just don't have the time to go through and recategorize all of my sound effects with metadata and stuff. It's just, I worked so hard on getting myself a really good file hierarchy that I just don't have the time to go through and recategorize everything. So if you guys know of anything other than that you guys are using, feel free to comment below and let me know what it is.